Welcome back. As you may have gathered by now, a whole food plant-based diet is the goal. But the optimal is always one step of success from where you are today. This has been seen over and over again in multiple research studies. The Nurses' Health Study, the Kaiser Permanente Northern California Study, the Adventist Health Study, the Health Professional Study, the Women's Health Initiative, and many other massive studies. And recently, when we looked at the California Teachers Study and others, what has previously been described as healthy Mediterranean diet, the part of the diet that was truly healthy was not the pasta or the wine, but rather the plants, the beans, the nuts and seeds, the whole grains, and the legumes. Unlike the fads that are based on anecdotal reports by one or other individual on small groups at best, or biased studies funded to get the outcomes desired, these studies involve thousands of individuals studied for multiple years in order to see an outcome. When you look at the blue zones or other countries with more wholesome diets, the incidence of dementia and Alzheimer's disease is significantly lower for those populations. This is especially true for people of one ethnic origin who are born and raised in other countries and migrate to the US. When people adopt a standard American or the SAD diet and a Western lifestyle, their risk for Alzheimer's increases. There have been observational studies published about this phenomenon, such as the Africans in Nigeria having lower risk for Alzheimer's disease than African Americans in Indianapolis, up to 5 times lower. This increase in Alzheimer's suggests that it's not genetics. Unfortunately, we see this trend in other countries as well. The prevalence of dementia in Japan has shot up over the last few decades, and it is not merely explained by the increasing aging demographics. The environment has changed. Traditional Japanese diets were generally high in vegetable products and grains and in unprocessed foods, and less animal products. But since the 1960s, meat, animal fat, and sugar consumption has risen considerably in Japan, and that of rice and unprocessed foods have dropped. The same westernization of diet has been seen in other countries like India and China, where up to a couple of decades ago, the rates of dementia could have been considered some of the lowest in the world. That is even when the age demographics were taken into consideration. But as their socioeconomic status has continued to change and their diets have become more westernized, so has their chronic disease numbers, such as diabetes, obesity, heart disease, and especially stroke and Alzheimer's. Currently, Alzheimer's is the #1 cause of mortality in China, and diabetes has become an epidemic. So if you eat plant foods directly from nature, you don't even need to think about your protein consumption, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, and even your risk for that matter. You don't have to worry about trans fats or saturated fats or sugar or salt, as most of our salt comes from processed foods. If you focus on real plant-based foods, nutrients tend to take care of themselves. You don't need to count macronutrients, vitamins, or minerals. We'll see you at the next video.